Hey everybody, it's Will, your fellow builder, and welcome back to the Work and Talk podcast, the podcast for tradespeople by tradespeople. This week we got an exciting topic that I can't wait to break down with you. And it all starts with, you don't know what you have till it's gone. And I'm not talking about your ex from high school. Today we're talking about trust. Why is trust so valuable? Does it apply to everybody? Does it only apply to contractors? Does it apply to you in the trades coming in? Or is it to pick the right customer or the customer pick the right contractor? We're going to find out today as we jump into this topic of trust. And just like I mentioned, trust, it's one of those qualities, it's one of those characteristics that we don't appreciate it until we're faced against the ugly truth, until it's gone. We have an amazing amount of trust that we give to our customer, amazing amount of trust we give to our employees. But when they start taking advantage of calling out, they start asking for more favors, they start getting sloppier. Or what about a customer? They don't pay on time. The work that they promised now dried up. The schedule that they were going to give us, now it's nowhere to be seen. All of these things affect our trust. And vice versa. What if we show up to the job site late? What if we're not communicating? What if we're not looking professional? All these different scenarios are going to ultimately affect the trust that we have with someone or that we're expecting. So why are we jumping into trust? Why do people have a hard time trusting? Well, we're going to dive into that because trust is everything when it's established in the business, especially when it comes to the skilled trades. How so? What's the difference? Being in the skilled trades, there's primarily service-based industry. We understand that's roughly around 52% of the entire industry is service-based. What happens with service-based? You're going into someone's house or place of business. They're trusting you to take care of that. They're trusting you to handle the issues. So now you're going into someone's home where their wives are, their children sleep, and that's a big level of opening the door or putting that wall down to have someone come into your home. And if you're your first-time contractor, if you're the first time meeting this customer, they're trusting you right from the rip that you're not going to try to take advantage of them. You're not trying to do nothing crazy. Right now, we have all these crazy videos out there. What are you going to do? How are you going to separate yourself from the rest? How are you going to show and develop that trust with the customer? But what makes a customer trust or not trust you as a contractor today ultimately is decided by how you're going to engage and interact with said customer, and vice versa, customer with you, or you as a contractor with your employees, or you as the crew lead with the ones under you. And we're going to talk about some 4 key points that I personally truly appreciate, and I want to share those insights with you, especially how it applies directly to me right now as an electrical contractor. I'm facing some of these pain points, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. But we're going to jump into our first factor that influences trust, and it comes down to your first impressions, your professionalism. How are you portraying yourself? Now, what I appreciate about this topic is, because this can go sloppy, this can get sloppy, this can go either way right now. Because guess what? There's ego, there's pride in the way. So when you start speaking with individuals, when you talk with other contractors out there, when you just individuals, everyone is born different, everyone has a different shape of size, everyone has a different mindset. So when you talk to a contractor, you can meet individuals who say, hey, I want to give the best. I want to present myself the best. I am dressing for the position that I want. I want that type of respect when I come in the room, bang. There's the other side of the coin where it's saying, hey, you should love me for who I am. If you don't like this about me, if you don't like these about me, if you don't like my scars, etc., well, I'm not the contractor for you. That's fine. But understand the way you portray yourself, professionalism still speaks volume. You can have all the good reviews, you can have all the good job site photos, be the best worker, but at the end of the day, You can't lie when someone's looking at you dead in your eyes and they go, I'm not attracted to this. I might want to go somewhere else. So trust is the same way. You ever go walking at night and you just see something a little sketchy and you cross the street? You may not want to trust it. Now can the person go, well, that's who I am, take me or leave me. I'm still crossing the street, my boy. You know what I mean? I don't have to stay here. You got to recognize, just like you have the right to do whatever you want, people have the right to walk away as well. So professionalism, how much is that really going to help us? Does it affect us? Let's find out. We have statistics from the Harvard Business School review. 70% of customers say their decision to hire a contractor is influenced based off a first impression that they see online. 70%. What type of page do you have? What type of character are you? Huh? How do you speak? Are you showing that you're an emotional guy all over the place, crazy, can't keep a tune? Guess what? Customers are looking at that. So if you're shutting down 70% of your customers to please the 30% who love you for who you are, what type of customer are you going to get? Is that a customer that you can trust? And vice versa. If they trust you, can you trust them? Something to keep in mind. What can we do? We can share how things are looking up on time. We can show how we have a clean uniform, or we can show that our estimates are detailed, it's understanding, so that when we do meet with these customers, they can say, look at that. They're putting their best foot forward. I want to work with them. And that's typically me. And contracting, it's very hard to stay clean cut, especially with everything that we do. But as a business owner, as a contractor, as a professional, how are you showing up to your estimates? How are you showing up to your job walks? How are you showing up to your inspections? These are all opportunities for you to clean yourself up. These are all opportunities for you to be the contractor, the businessman you want to be. Don't dress for your role. Dress for who you want to become. And that's not fake it. That's not faking it till you make it. That's working your ass off to be the person that you want to be. All right? There's nothing wrong with that. Don't let anybody try to get you twisted on that. The second, clear communication. I am having a hard time with this as an electrical contractor myself. I didn't recognize the sense that communication was so valuable, even when it comes to the small things. And for myself, these statistics blew my mind. 81% of customers value transparency, clear communication over price. Why is that? Because we understand so many contractors recently want to talk about, my pricing. Communicate with the homeowner. Explain to them what you want to do. When you get to express yourself to the customer, they're going to see the real you. And that's what people want at the end of the day. Can I trust you? How do you dialogue? How are you thinking? Why am I going to let you in my house? Have that open communication with the customer. If you do, 81% of them will value that more than the price that you give them. So how is this something that we can take to home? What's in the lesson? For me, myself, I actually have an operations director now with myself in my electrical contracting business, and he's running all operations. He's running office side, field side, scheduling, permitting, you name it, he's handling it. And I'm recognizing how bad of a leader I was within my own even though I grew my business to 2-3 mil, I recognize how much I was failing in the in the terms of communication. I was thinking, go, 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 go. And he's telling me now, slow down. We already went. We are already going. Let's clean up shop right now. Let's start working on communicating. Let's talk to the partners that we have. Let's talk to our employees. Things that I didn't think was important. He's like, send a text out. Why? It's just that little thing. Trust me, we have to reestablish that. Let the people know that you matter to them. Let the people know they matter to you. All these different things happened all because I was not communicating with them. And all of these things started changing because he started showing me how valuable communication is, not just with our customers, but vice versa with our employees' internal staff. Why I also love about this is when you communicate with a customer, even when it's bad, the customer will always appreciate you. True or not, how many of you have been there where you do a no call, no show, you couldn't make it and you don't call them? the customer loses their minds when you don't show up, or if you show up late without a heads up. True or not? How many of you been there? Comment down below. Let me know. Tag me if you've been late to a job or you didn't show up and a customer lost their stuff because they think that you don't value their time, and that will set anybody off. We have customers that if we're late, we have to contact. We have an SOP. If we're not going to show up, we have an SOP. Even if you are showing up late, if you aren't showing up at all and we call the customer, they get pissed, but they don't get pissed to the point where they'll leave a BBB review. They won't call the GC. They won't call this. They won't call that, just because. If you call them, at least give them, they'll be pissed, but at least they honor and they respect the fact that you had that dialogue with them when it comes to trust. Let's jump to our next point, which I'm pretty excited about sharing with you, because as we started reviewing these topics, as we were going through each and every one of them one by one, we started talking with some individuals on Instagram. We started talking with them, asking them about trust. So many were different, giving their different viewpoints. They were saying trust is earned. You shouldn't just give it out. Other individuals are saying, no, trust, you need to have trust just to get through the door. So there's no zero once you walk through someone's door. There's some level of trust. Some individuals like Damasio, Just Electrical, Tennessee, there's individuals. Who else do we have? We have Texas, we have Garrett Shell, we have Montoyada, we have Idaho Electrician, we have H&M Electrical Service. All broke down their viewpoints when it came to trust. For example, there's different levels of trust. You can start at level 1, but to maintain and keep a customer, you have to raise up those levels. Just like what we saw with clear communication, just like what we saw with professionalism. It all starts with the first Google search. That's why from Montoyada, HM Electrical Service, have that communication, put them at ease. All of these things you guys are already applying in your business. And guess what? That's why you guys are leaders. We need more builders, but we need more leaders. You guys are already living by that example. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to you individuals for jumping in, participating. Not only are you a part of the Build Association, but you guys are jumping in on our Instagram Live. So I just want to personally say my hat's off to you, how much I appreciate you guys, and thank you. That jumps into our next point, which is what blew my mind personally. And this really hit home because this conversation, this topic actually happened to me this week. By the time you guys do the recording, it's probably going to be 3 weeks from now. So a month, timestamp it. By the time you guys hear this podcast, a month has passed already. And it's over-promising. You can lose trust from a customer by over-promising and then under-delivering. Why is this so difficult? Why is this so troublesome for us contractors? Because the statistics will blow your mind. 56% of customers stop trusting a business after unmet expectations. 56, so more than half. So half of us, half of the work that we're doing, and we're not meeting expectation, half of those customers aren't going to be wanting to work with us. Why? Because we overpromised and underdelivered. As a contractor, our number one focus is how to keep busy, how to keep busy, how to keep busy. And we're learning the hard way that saying yes to everything is actually hurting us, because now it takes one mistake, one callback for us to come back to have to fix something, and now it messes up the whole schedule, and now everyone's upset because we're not showing up, we're not communicating, we're not handling our deliverables. But guess what? All of that can be fixed with better communication and learning to say no. Learning to not cut corners. If you guys haven't yet watched our other videos on avoid the cost of cutting corners and the cost of saying no to a customer, feel free to check out our previous videos, because we go into that to the point where over here, over-promising and under-delivering, we will lose 50%, more than 50% of our customers if we under-deliver by over-promising, right? But guess what? So that's a negative of 50%. If you start to say no to customers, you actually raise your schedule, you actually raise revenue by 30%, because you're more intentional with your work now. You're more clear, you're more concise, you're more efficient with your work. Revenue spikes up by 30%. That's a 80% jump from 50 back to neutral to a 30. That's 80% within between just by saying no. But guess what? In the construction culture, we're not told that. We're told yes, 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 and figure it out. I am truly amazed at this, to the point where this is where one of my personal stories comes in. Tim, our office manager now, right? Our director of operations, he's over here saying, hey, Will, we got a meeting with one of our partners that we do work for. He generates roughly around 40% of our revenue as a company. And he's over here saying, we have a meeting with him. We got to go over everything. We're going to talk about whatever happened in the past is the past. Moving forward, this is how we want to operate to be more efficient with him. He said, just trust me. I know this guy. Trust me. We're going to have this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm over here starting to freaking out. I'm like, why is he telling me to trust him, trust him, trust him? We're over here going to work, and the individual is actually telling us how much more work that they have. Oh my God, we need to do this. We need to do this. And in my head, I'm like, cha-ching! We're about to make some money, baby. And then Tim goes, nope, we're not taking that. And this is the guy I hired as my running mate. This is the guy who's my number 2 in my company. My guy who's making decisions off of behalf. And he tells one of our biggest, employers, one of our biggest GCs, no, we're not going to take on that additional work. Would have brought in another 1.25 mil. And guess what? The guy drops his jaw and he goes, why not? Tim said word for word, I don't want to over-deliver, over-promise, and under-deliver on our service. I want to clean up our reputation before we jump into that. I was like, oh, I see what he did. But I was still shocked at the point, and I'm going to be honest, I was still a little pissed that he said no, and I wanted to fight this. I was ready to swing on this dude, saying like, why are we paying him to now say no to work? And what happened next will blow your mind. The individual said, I appreciate your honesty. I see where you're coming from. I want to work with you now. So you tell me the capacity you can work at, and I'm still giving you the work. Are you freaking kidding me? Tim said no. We still got the job, and we got it on our expectation. Do you understand how amazing that is? That's what clear communication, that's what trust looks like within the industry. It blew my mind. At that point, I said, sit, because we're at dinner. I'm like, I'm going to just sit down and eat my burger right now. You guys do your talking. And I said, yo, Tim, just send me to work whenever you're ready, bro. But that blew my mind. The fact that we got to that point, I'm telling you, I didn't expect that at all. I didn't expect that at all. And I'm truly grateful because this is stuff where it just shows you having individuals in your life who know what they're doing, who are proficient in their space, can teach you valuable lessons. So shout out to you, Tim. All right, shout out to you for bringing that lesson to a nice reality for us. But we also wanted to touch on this last and final point on how to make or break trust when it comes to a customer. It's follow-ups after job are completed. So many of us, when we get that check, we're out. Beep, beep, we're out of there. Doors closed. Hey, call me when there's another issue, or call me when there's a trouble call, right? And we just let it go. Over here, based off of small business trends, Department of Labor, companies and businesses that follow up after job completions retain 47%, basically 50%, half of your customers. So you can lose 50% of your customers by over-promising, but you can now, and under-delivering, but just by completing the task and then following up, you can keep 50%. These are big, bro, do you understand 50% on both sides of the coin? That's big numbers you're talking about. That's 1 out of every 2, 5 out of every 10, 10 customers out of every 20. That's in a week, you can look at multiples of 3, 9, customers a week that you can keep now for life because you are having that open dialogue with them. But these are some things genuinely to keep in mind because, once again, the construction culture, even though it's so amazing, even though there's so many opportunities, they focus solely on being a worker. Go to the next job, keep your head down, next paycheck. Just be stuck as a builder. Remember, here at Energize Us, here at Build, we need builders. But most importantly, We need leaders to lead because the industry needs you guys. The industry needs more leaders, just like Just Electric, just like Tennessee Electrician, just like Idaho Electrician, just like H&M Electrical Service, just like Garrett Shell, Montellada, Diamond Electrical. All of these individuals who participate in today's live to give these insights, you guys are the heroes. You guys are the builders of tomorrow. So all of this, guys, I truly want to hear from you, because when we started talking about, when we first started the Instagram live, we asked you, how many of you guys lost the trust of a customer? Your hands went up like crazy. So I want to hear from you. Have you lost a customer because of the lack of trust, or vice versa? Are you guys man enough to let me know? Have you broken the trust of a customer? I want to hear from you guys. And guess what? All of this is going to lead us to our next topic. And I can't wait for you to hear it. Because if you can't trust a customer, what type of employees are you going to have? What type of employees are you going to retain? What type of people are you attracting? Can you even trust an employee? I can't wait to break that down with you guys. Once again, everything that we do here at the Build Association, everything that we do here at Energize Us is based off of this chart over here. This chart breaks it down simply for us. If you guys want to see what this chart means, if you want to see the value of having character, trust, vision, work ethic, skill set, follow us down below so we can explain that chart to you next week when it comes to hiring the right hire for your electrical contracting company. And remember, keep in mind, this isn't for everybody. Trust is only for the ones who want to be significant and successful leaders, because you're recognizing trust is needed within the industry. Everyone else just wants to worry about the next paycheck. You're looking ahead. You're looking at the future. That's why we want to work with you here at Energize Us, where we're building builders, we're building leaders. And thank you guys for this episode of the Work and Talk podcast. Can't wait to catch you guys on the next episode. Be safe, everybody. Thank you. Bye.